Tim, well, first of all, tell us where you work and what kind of position you have within the organization.
Sure. Yeah. So I run a company called Paradigm Homes. We're based in the DMV, mostly focused in Northern Virginia, Arlington, McLean, Falls Church, expanding into Maryland, Bethesda, Potomac. Just launched the division in Charleston, South Carolina. Yeah, so a lot going on in the industry. 2 years ago, we all entered into COVID and didn't know what the heck was going to happen. We came out on the other side of that with, you know, busier than ever in an industry that's been impacted in crazy ways. So every day it's something new. It's a new price increase or another shortage of something that you can't get. But yeah, so it's been fun.
Yeah. So you do like super custom home designs. Do you feel like that's been kind of trending upwards?
Yeah, I mean, I think the real estate industry in general, whether it's, someone coming in to buy something that's on the market to, someone just trying to renovate or do what we do which is design build, where we, work with our clients, either work within the existing home or space that they're in, or we help them source a lot, or we help them tear down and design something. I mean, it's all over the place. I mean, I've got friends in all different sectors of the business. And I think everybody's pretty busy, from the like I said, the retail buyer to the production builder to us custom guys. I mean, I don't know too many that are sitting idle on their hands, waiting for the phone to ring. So, I mean, I think if I go back, we closed 4, maybe 5 deals in December, which, for a custom builder, we're averaging 1 a month. I mean, so yeah, that's a pretty a big pipeline, and we've got a huge pipeline of projects going into 2022, and actually we're starting to backlog into 2023 already. And I think part of it has to do with, we're seeing rates come up, but, rates have been historically low. Money's, relatively cheap and inexpensive. People have been sitting around doing nothing for, 2 years and looking at the walls, not changing color or not getting any bigger. So they're like, hey, we need to expand our space and or build a new house. And so I think there's just a lot of things that have driven that kind of pent up demand. And so, yeah, it's been exciting times from that aspect, right? Who doesn't want to grow a business and help their clients achieve their goals, all while trying to navigate, supply chain issues and constant price increases. So it's a weird double-edged sword that we're battling, but each day we embrace it. We get up, we make things better, and we set out to, really help our clients have a great experience nonetheless.
So from what I've looked at, it seems like the construction start permits have been fairly steady recently, and completions, maybe just hover just under that, but it's catching up. As well as the builder confidence index. I don't know if you've ever been surveyed for that, but just as a reflection of the industry as a whole, there seems to be an optimism, whereas maybe on purely financial sector, it's a little bit more of an anxious time. But was there ever like serious uncertainty about where things were headed?
I mean, I think when you go back to the, kind of the beginning of, 2020, when things started shutting down, right? Yeah, there was definitely uncertainty. Nobody has seen this before. I'm in a couple of different mastermind groups. I've got a lot of, advisors that I surround myself with. And, I just remember being on the phone or on Zooms or, Teams calls, just trying to figure out how do we navigate this, right? So I think there was a lot of uncertainty in those, that first, 30 to 45 days. And then once we all kind of, learned how to do this very well, shift to working remote and, thankfully construction in Virginia and the areas we serve was essential. So that kind of kept things moving and progressing. So, yeah, I mean, I would say that really the uncertainty was in that beginning, part of it. But then as we've kind of moved through, the month of, March and April, leads were down, but then all of a sudden the phone started ringing, the emails started coming in. And to be honest, the faucet has not stopped, at full force, which, from a business side of it, it's exciting, so, and we get to choose, right? Hire the right clients. They get the opportunity to hire the right builder. We get to be a little bit selective on that. So yeah, I mean, there was uncertainty, but now it's a different uncertainty. It's more of like, how are we going to get these things built in a timely manner when we can't get, materials, and and labor and some of the other industry struggles that we're dealing with.
Sure. Yeah. So if you're going to break it down as kind of a SWOT analysis, the strengths, the weaknesses, the opportunities, and the threats. Right now, we're right at the start of 2022. What would you say the biggest strengths are in the industry?
I think we've all learned to pivot. At least we have. I mean, we went through and as an organization over the last 2 years have really gotten stronger. I think what COVID has done is it's made those that had really good systems and programs and processes and even team members. I think it's, at least for us, I'm speaking in terms of paradigm, it's made us stronger. And I'm sure that's the case with other, organizations, because when you've got a good team, they want to improve, they want to grow. And so when you surround yourself with that, like I said, I've got friends that are also in the industry and in the business and, different sectors of it, they're kind of saying the same things. Like, we've come out of this, where we thought we were headed to doom and destruction, which now there has been, health issues and things like that. But from an industry's perspective, I think it's been a lot of strength, right? And one of those things is this, right? The fact that we're having a lot more meetings. We don't have to sit and drive in Northern Virginia traffic to go, meet with somebody. There's been a lot of benefits from that. We sped up our design times. We sped up our meeting times. We've had a lot more internal team meetings this way that, otherwise you may not have because there's scheduling conflicts. It's easy to hop on a 15-minute Zoom call to solve some challenges amongst the organization or amongst, the vendor partners that we have. So yeah, there's been a lot of pros that, from a process and function, like I said, I think have made not only us stronger, but I know industry-wise, it's a lot more effective and efficient. So with not having to drive all over the place, this has been kind of nice.
Yeah, it's crazy. It brings out, that we can be more efficient if we utilize some of the resources available. Any weaknesses that kind of stand out in the industry?
I think the biggest thing is, you've got our supply chain challenges and concerns, right? Anytime there's, health issues and you go into, big manufacturings that are shutting down for weeks, months at a time, and then they're trying to, carry out this massive demand that we've seen in the industry over the last 18 months is crazy. So you've got, the work shortage piece of it has been a big, you hear this in all the news and everything. So it's not something new, but yeah, it's probably the biggest weakness is just trying to be able to keep up with the demand, to be able to get the products there for our clients. And, the other thing is putting the right people on the team, right? So it's very selective in who's out there, who's available, who's willing to work, who wants to work hard. So those are probably the two biggest things that we've seen and experienced. But then again, as we've gone back to the strength component, we've tried to put some things in place, hiring practices and, making sure we're taking care of our vendors. That's important right now. I mean, the vendors are just as important as our clients, making sure that, they're slammed, they've got a lot going on, and they're going to work with those that take care of them and are, truly see them as a strategic partner and are concerned about their welfare, not just like, let's get the job done. So that's one of the things how we've kind of overcome that, as well as trying to see the future, ordering appliances 8 to 10 months in advance. We've got a whole laundry list of items that we're constantly trying to stay ahead of. So that's kind of some of the things we've done to kind of overcome some of that weakness. But that's probably the biggest thing. I think we're all, all builders that I've talked to are facing that same challenge.
So opportunities specifically, like what's on the rise that you guys can take advantage of as builders?
I think the biggest thing is, the selective component, making sure that we're hiring, and our clients are hiring our ideal client, someone that, is looking for a certain level of experience, certain level of process, certain level of product. So we've been able to kind of be a little bit more selective on, who we bring in to work with us and who we see our clients as partners. We don't see them as anything other than that. So we want to make sure we've got good partnerships with that. So that's given us the ability to do that. I think the other thing is the expansion, right? We're looking at markets where, like, we just moved into Charleston, South Carolina, Mount Pleasant in particular. People are moving from the Northeast and even the district in the DMV further south. So we use that as an opportunity to kind of capitalize on, hey, let's kind of follow the the move, the movement south or whatever. I mean, I personally have been going. I've got a house in Charleston. That's why we're there. We've been doing that we've had a house there for about 4.5 years, and so it's just we saw the writing on the wall when we were kind of staying. We left Northern Virginia and spent 3 months in Charleston at the beginning of the pandemic because it was warmer and it was easier to get outside, and you just saw more and more people trying to do that. So for us, we seen it as an opportunity. Hey, let's grow. Let's go where the people are.
And then you kind of touched on some of the threats you guys are facing right now, but what stands out?
Rates, right? I think that's going to be a big, I don't want to say deterrent, right? Because they're not, I don't think we're going to see crazy rates jump, but I mean, they have to go up, right? It's at some point they've got to go. I think that's one of the things that you're going to hear, and what it might do, it might force people to make decisions sooner, right? Because we don't know what the rates are going to do, and now we're hearing talks of it. But I think the biggest thing is going to be where that cheap money, how much that goes up and what that does for people and what they can afford, so I think that's probably one of the bigger, if you want to call it, a threats or concerns that we're going to see over as we move into 2022.
Yeah. What about the supply chain? Do you think that that's something that's recovering, or was it ever even like really an availability issue? Is it something that just runs its course?
Yeah, I mean, now we're going to struggle. It's going to be a while. I mean, we're always seeing kind of lumber, prices kind of tick back up again. I mean, the demand is just, it's crazy. So you're seeing that mixed with this short supply. I think it's going to, kind of be a weakness and a threat as we move through 2022 into 2023 until some of these manufacturing facilities get people back. The challenge with that is, though, the rates at which they have to pay people to come back is more, which is in turn increasing pricing of everything. So I think we've got a long road ahead of us with supply, but that's where it's important, like I said, to have the right vendor partners and the right subcontractor teams working with you to make sure that you're taking care of them, and ultimately they're taking care of you, which ultimately you're taking care of your client.
What kind of trends are you seeing on the rise from buyers who want some custom work? What's hot right now?
I mean, modern contemporary is kind of the big trend, or if you want to call it transitional. You're seeing a lot of clean lines. The black windows are still kind of in and still trending. So that's probably one of the biggest things that we're seeing. You're seeing a lot of exterior elements come into their home, brick, wood beams. So, kind of more of those kind of, customized, built-ins. I'm also seeing not as massive houses being built. I'm seeing, at least from our side, we like to call it right size, where they're spending more money on the fit and finishes, not so much the square footage, which in my mind, I'd rather see that than just building these massive, big, we'll do it. It depends on what the client needs are, but we're seeing a lot of shift to, kind of more, right sized, higher end finish, better quality, which is what we do, which we love to help our clients achieve that. So
that's interesting. Cool. And then, so from your perspective, do you see anything about the home buying process or what goes into a good home that you feel like home buyers ought to know that's generally under recognized?
Don't buy into just the fit and finishes as you're walking into a house. So what I mean by that is, like, a lot of builders are great when they finish a house, or they're walking through maybe a semi-custom home or a spec home that's on the market. See what's going on with the quality, right? Anybody can throw some nice appliances in, some granite countertops, and call it a custom home, but like, really get into know who the builder is. What are the products that they're using behind the finishes? What's going on in the systems? What's going on in how the housing envelope's being built? What's going on in the energy efficiency realm? What's going on in some of those components to be a little bit more green? So I think not just looking at the pretty things, but understanding the construction. And maybe not knowledge, I'm not talking technical, but I'm just talking about understanding how the house is truly built, who built it, and kind of their core values of why they're even building homes. I think it's a key component to anybody looking at whether it's something that's on the market, whether it's a production home, a semi-custom home, or it's you're going full-blown custom. I think that's something that's very, very important as consumers go out there to, you know, to buy their next house.
Yeah, good bones. That's a phrase I hear a lot from realtors. They're like, that's what you want. You want the good bones.
Exactly.
Do you think that certain areas have kind of higher standards for home construction than others within the United States?
Yeah, I mean, I think so, right? I mean, as you go into the markets where people, you know, the incomes are higher, they're going to drive, you know, nicer cars, which means they're going to want nicer homes. And so, yeah, I mean, definitely places closer to the cities are going to, you know, drive those prices, because part of it is, you know, as you get closer from the city, I'll use Arlington as an example, right? The land itself is so expensive, right? So you're spending anywhere from 800 to $1.2 million on a, you know, on a tear down lot. You know, you're spending that kind of money and you're in 2.5, 3 million, whatever the number is. Like their expectations are higher, and as they should be. When you're spending that kind of money, you definitely are going to want to see that. I mean, as you kind of look at the sprawl, you move away from the cities. That's where you see a lot more of the production builders or the semi-custom homes that are going up, and some of that quality is not going to be the same. I see the infill builders, depending on who they are, right, tend to be a little bit more in the higher quality range.
Gotcha. Steven, you got anything to add?
Man, no, that was awesome. Have you done this before?
How to get for Gab. No, I'm in the process. I'm going to actually launch my own podcast, kind of. So it's called The Thoughtful Builder, and the vision of it is kind of answering some of these questions. It's more towards the consumer versus like the tech. I'm not a technical guy. Yes, I'm a builder, but like that's not what I, you know, I go to sleep on and wake up excited about, like nuts and bolts. But yeah, that's something that I'm working on. So once I get that up and running, I'll let you guys know.
Oh, that's super cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Into the game.
Yeah.
Good. That's a wrap.
That was good, guys. Matt, nice meeting you. Steven, good seeing you.
Pleasure
Have a good night.
Take care.